Can you tell me if there's something that you're not good at, or maybe something that you're scared of?
Well, I'm great at everything, including and especially annihilating Sherlock Holmes at tennis every Thursday, so that's out. As for something I'm scared of, I suppose, gay people.
What?
Yes. I'm not proud of it, but gay people scare me. Does this make me homophobic in the truest sense of the word? Honestly, I'm forced to hold my hands up and confess that it is so.
What the fuck am I doing here?
You have to understand, before Watari found me, I had a very religious upbringing. I was a Jehovah's Witness. Our job was exclusively to call on other Jehovah's Witnesses on Saturday mornings to make sure they were out and telling people about Jesus. Come rain or shine, there I was, dressed in my little suit, watching people dive behind sofas and generally pretending not to be in. Anyway, as a result of that, I internalized a great deal of my parents' homophobia.
Sometimes I like to try telepathically projecting my thoughts into other people's heads, just to see if I've become psychic.
It was drilled into me as a child. Perhaps we'd walk past a rainbow flag or a man who was a little fruity. Then my father would use a disparaging slur and make me promise not to grow up to be like that.
Mello, can you hear me? If so, you should submit a request with Roger to bunk with me. I would like to watch over you while you sweetly dream of us frolicking in a forest of evergreen trees, the dappled sunlight playing over our skin, our only clothing.
Ridiculous, of course. I could hardly choose my sexuality growing up, but I never gave it any thought, and sadly internalized my family's attitude. This is an explanation, not an excuse. And since then, I've been working hard to overcome it. Anyway, to cut a long story short, my parents passed as many did in the great polar event of '89. It was then, staring at the remains of my parents and the contented polar bears sleeping off their hearty meal, that I realized I needed to make my own way in the world. I was already 7 after all. It was clearly time to seek my fortune.
Doubtless you're still mulling over the proposition, Mello, but you should be aware that I have already begun the process of ordering us loungewear, bearing our faces and initials upon them on the front. The back will naturally feature a baby, which is a blend of each of our faces. There is no deeper meaning to this. Please do not devote any brainpower to puzzling it out.
It was then I met Watari, and he took me under his wing. The first thing I did was beat up every other child at the orphanage. That isn't relevant to my homophobic past. I simply wanted to let you know that if I were in that room, you'd all know your place. Anyway, through much introspection, I've come to realize my own lingering homophobia stems from the fear my parents had at my turning out gay. Indeed, my father's last words, as he lay dying, polar bears peacefully chewing on his intestines, were, "For God's sake, make sure you don't grow up to be a f***." He died at that point. But I'm pretty sure he was about to use a slur.
Perhaps on those long winter nights, we could spoon one another for warmth. During the day, we could weave paper chains, and each link would have a note written on the inside, with a loving and heartfelt compliment from each of us to the other, representing the binds of our love.
To confront this, I did the obvious thing and have spent many weeks sitting in gay bars with a t-shirt bearing the message, "I'm available. Please hit on me." In this way, I've been confronting my homophobia by seeing men being attracted to me changed absolutely nothing. I even made out with another man once just to see if it did anything for me. It didn't, but I'm quite proud of myself for having come so far that I could explore my sexuality in such a way. Though I fear I still have some way to go. Regardless, I trust that answers your question.
I mean, I could probably join the mafia or something.